You all knew this was coming. Rack focus. Good afternoon, everyone. Johnny O from the Plot Hole here. Now, I know all of you love to look at my lovely face, but seeing as how this is a special edition of Dingleberries and Klingons, and the source material here kinda needs a different touch. After watching this douchebag's video on the Creaky Blinders channel, I just knew I had to respond. But then I thought, maybe I know somebody who's better equipped to handle this fucking pimply-faced fuckwit. So, allow me to introduce you to my lovely and intelligent wife, MammaTega from MammaTega's Madness. She's gonna take this fool down a few pegs, and rightfully so. Take it away, MammaTega.
What's up, everybody? It's MammaTega from MommaTega's Madness, just dropping by to say hi and help this guy out.
Women are the physical manifestation of sensory perception. And in the same sense that when your senses are overloaded in any particular way, whether they're overloaded with pleasure or overloaded with pain, if your senses keep receiving that same stimulus over and over, you are not going to have as strong of a reaction to that same stimulus.
Women are the physical manifestations of this phenomenon. What does that even mean? I'm just so confused. He didn't get who he wanted, and now he's got his panties in a twist and wants to blame every single woman on the planet for his rejection.
In this same sense, being that women are the physical manifestations of this phenomenon, that is why women's value must be preserved. They can't be trusted to handle anything of greater responsibility, anything of greater importance than daily household chores and taking care of babies. Not taking care of children, taking care of babies. Because once babies turn into children, that's when the psychological development comes into place, which far exceeds the capabilities that women are able to provide for the child. But going back to the value preservation, women's value has to be preserved.
Did he really just say that? We only know how to do household chores and take care of babies, but not children, because they surpass our intellectual value. That makes no sense.
Women's value has to be preserved, while a man's value has to be created. Women are born with inherent value, men are born with no value, or next to no value. They're born with the potential for value. That's why when you see a young woman who hasn't done anything with her life, nobody's going to look down on her if she doesn't want to go to college or if she doesn't want to work. Nobody's going to think less of her for not wanting to do those things. Whereas they definitely will look down on a young man who doesn't want to go to college and doesn't want to work and doesn't want to improve himself. Since women are born with inherent value, it can't actually be increased in the same way that a man's can. Men's value is based on what they have done and the type of person that they've turned themselves into, what kind of value they've brought into the community in which they're living or into the larger society. But a woman's value is not based on that. The reason a woman has inherent value is because her value is based on her fertility. To put it bluntly, that's what it's based on. Women's value is based on their fertility. That's why it's in the best interest of a woman not to waste her inherent value and try to lock down a high value man or a man who looks like he's on his way to becoming high value.
It's in my best interest to get a guy of high value or one who looks like he's going to be of high value. I don't know what to say. Yeah, it's just my whole life's purpose to find a man and then take care of babies
as soon as she can. The more experiences a woman goes through, the less value she has as a woman. And it's not just fertility either, it's also based on her ability to stay with a mate. Children are more likely to survive if the father's in the home. Children grow up much healthier and much happier and are much more successful later in life when the father is present. And not just present, but consciously involved in the children's lives. That's why stepfathers don't really do the trick. You can't just inject a male person into a child's life and say, this is your new father now. That's not how psychology works. That's not how human brains work. The child knows it's not their actual father. And before any idiots go, well, I formed a bond with my stepfather, I'm aware that exceptions exist. I would still argue that you're not as close to your stepfather as you would have been to your biological father had you had the chance. But like I said, the more experiences, whether positive or negative, that a woman goes through decreases her value because women cannot handle the stresses or the pleasures of life. The more stress she goes through, the more she sees the world as nothing more than a negative place.
Yeah, women cannot handle the stresses of life. Bitch, please. Before you even wake up and think about scratching your balls, got up, got myself ready, got 4 kids ready, got them to school, cooked breakfast, had a whole pot of coffee, obviously, and I'm at work. I'm already at work. What have you done today?
And I've mentioned this in a previous video, but it's because women are not able to connect with God in the same way that men are. Women are not able to renew themselves mentally. They see everything on earth through the lens of the material. They see everything on earth through the lens of sensory perception. If something doesn't excite them enough, then it's not a good thing. If something stresses them out too much, then it's also not a good thing. Everything has to be new, everything has to be fresh, everything has to be exciting all the time, 100% of the time, otherwise it's bad. That's how women see the world. They don't have an accurate lens of reality through which they see the world. They just don't see reality. They interpret the quality of reality through the type of sensory input they're receiving. That's why girls don't work out. You ever wonder why the vast majority of women don't work out? They're fortunate enough to be born with a nice looking body, and then it just wastes away. They don't work out. They could preserve their body a little bit by working out, but that's why. It's because it hurts. Working out hurts. And since women only interpret the world through sensory perception, anything that hurts is a bad thing. They can't handle it. They literally can't handle working out. That's how strongly this influences their mind. And just as when I was saying earlier, when a woman goes through too many negative experiences, she's not able to renew herself because women are not as connected to God. They're not able to refresh themselves psychologically. They're not able to detach themselves from the material world. And don't let their astrology fool you either. All this crystals, all the chakra, the healing bullshit, there's no such thing as chakras. There's no such thing as crystals, lighting incense. All of that is still sensory. There's no divine presence there. It's still, just because it makes them feel good doesn't mean that there's a divine presence there. They might feel a tiny bit of divine presence because typically when they interact with these things, they're becoming more still in body, and that's how you gain greater contact with God. That's how you connect yourself better with the divine presence. But since they're not able to go all the way, they're satisfied with sensory perception. They think that the crystals are the divine presence. They think that the incense or the astrological signs are the divine presence, when really it's just more sensory perception. It's just more material, surface level interpretation. But in the same sense that negative experiences traumatized them in a way that cannot be recovered from, so do pleasure experiences. If a woman has the best sex of her life with a guy, she will never be able to enjoy another man again.
Once I have one man, I will never be able to enjoy another man again, ever. So I'm sorry that you got dumped or rejected or that you have such mommy issues, but
it has to stay at that high level. You ever wonder why divorce courts favor women? It's because the objective is to maintain the woman's lifestyle. No attention is given to the man's lifestyle. Nobody gives a single fuck about men, okay? Just for you guys thinking you're gonna change the divorce courts, men need to be given more rights. Men need to be prioritized in court. None of that shit's ever gonna happen. That's never, ever. I can't even emphasize how that's never going to happen. It's just not. But back to what I was saying. The woman's lifestyle is to be maintained. That's the priority. Now, the positive implications of this prioritization would be that if the woman has a small child and the dad's a deadbeat, then yeah, we would want to make sure that they're financially set up. But in the vast majority of divorce cases and just cases dealing with men and women in general, none of those details are taken into consideration. It is only taken into consideration that she is a woman, and due to our feminist culture, she's inherently a victim, and he is a man, which means he's inherently a perpetrator. And he's inherently a bad guy. And so the rewards, the fruits of the man's labor are given to the woman, regardless of the context of the situation.
Ugh. The fruits of a man's labor are given to women in this feminist culture. Yeah, in this feminist culture that we have, because women are just worshipped, because we didn't have to fight for our right to even be able to vote, or, I don't know, work, or wear something that's not a fucking dress if we want to. Yeah, this world just revolves around women.
But jumping back to what I was saying, even pleasurable experiences are too much for the woman to handle because they cannot refresh themselves. They can't see men in a new light. They can't appreciate different aspects of the man. All they see is whoever gives them the most dick, whoever gives them the most exciting experience, whoever takes her on the most expensive date, on the more expensive date, he's the one who's gonna take the cake. She will forever look at every other date after that with a sense of pity. You ever notice how girls who've been ran through or just more attractive girls tend to look at men with a sense of resentment or a sense of pity? Or they look at nice guys definitely with a sense of pity as well. It's almost like, oh, it's so cute. Look at him trying so hard. He thinks this is actually impressing me. Look at him trying so hard to impress me. Why is he trying? It's almost like they're confused. They're like, why is he trying so hard to impress me? What have I done to deserve such effort? None of the other guys have ever put in this much effort before. They're confused as to why you would try so hard for them.
And we're so confused. We just walk around confused all the time. I'm confused, I'm confused, I'm confused. Oh my God. This guy, such a tool. I mean, someone turned you down for a date and now you have to just throw all women under the bus? We're all stupid, confused sluts? Like, what? What in the actual fuck is going on here?
Even they are not confused about the amount of value they provide. Even they understand that they are ruined. Even they understand that their value has gone out the window. It went out the window with the first 100 guys they slept with. And I do mean 100. You guys don't realize how utterly abundant women's sex options are. Most women's sex options, even for average girls, are through the roof. And it's because of the dynamic. Men are the ones who are supposed to approach the women. Therefore, women are naturally going to have more options. It just makes it seem like that. That's why women's egos are through the roof. That's why the moment they don't get this attention, they go fucking nuts. Because it's been that way their entire lives. That's why women can't acknowledge that they do have it easier in life. That's why women can't acknowledge the privileges they have in life, because it's been a part of their life their entire lives. But don't be fooled. Even they understand that their value is gone. That's why they don't like guys treating them with appreciation. That's why they don't like guys treasuring them, because they know they're not treasures. They know they're not worthy of that treatment, but they're in such denial. Women are masters of self-denial. Or rather, not self-denial, but they're masters of going into denial. They don't deny themselves anything. They'll take anything they can get. Women say men will fuck anything, and then be the anything that gets fucked. It's so funny because for all the resentment towards men that ran through women have, they sure do seem to have sex with them all the time.
Ran through women? Really? Ran through women? Is that what you guys are calling it nowadays? Sorry. Shouldn't take out my anger on all of you. But ran through women. That's just gross. You're gross.
They'll still take anything they can get. It's not like they turn down men's advances. It's not like they just turn away sex altogether. They don't become abstinent. They'll still take anything they can get, while at the same time pretending that they're not that type of person. They're just as degenerative as the degenerative men. Don't let the fact that men are the ones approaching women confuse you. Women are just able to hide it because of the natural dynamic.
Yeah, don't let that confuse you, just because women have more options. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, that's one thing I might agree with this fucking douchebag on, is that women have the upper hand when it comes to sexual choices or sexual options. Yes, it is like our culture, at least in the United States, men do come up to women and ask them out on dates. Guess what? that doesn't mean that every woman fucks every single guy who comes up to them and asks them to go out on a date. What type of alternate reality do you live in that you think all women have just had sex with multiple hundreds of men? I mean, doesn't it take a man to have sex as well? So you're basically saying that if a man has sex with 100 women, he's just a man, but a woman has sex with 100 men she's ran through? What? Get out of here.
Nobody can see this underlying dynamic. It's like so obvious. It's observable in our everyday life, and yet nobody can see this. Nobody can take their awareness just an inch deeper and see, yeah, you know what? Men are the ones approaching women. Women are the ones getting approached.
Yeah, no one can just think a little bit deeper. Really? That's the analogy you want to use? An inch deeper? Are we trying to make up for something here? I mean, I don't know. You're the one who said it, not me. You said it, not me.
So naturally, it would make sense that women have more abundant options, and they're able to hide things easily, and they're able to make it seem like they don't want it as bad, and they're able to make it seem like they're just victims and really the men are the perpetrators. Things are much more nuanced and complex than the vast majority of people will ever realize, much less admit to. But I don't want to ramble on for too long. I think I've spoken on this long enough.
What else can I say? This guy's just obviously got mommy issues, was turned down for a date or two. He didn't get the hot girl, or someone else didn't get the girl you wanted. Look, I'm sorry, but it happens, especially when you're a fucking dumbass douchebag. All right, I'm done with this prepubescent, pimply-faced sorry excuse for a man. If you're looking for a confused woman, you're not gonna find that at this Badass Bitches channel. If you wanna see some real life shit and what it's like to be a woman who can run a household along with her wonderful husband, come check me out at MammaTega's Madness. Link will be in the description. And I wouldn't mind at all if you wanted to go ahead and subscribe while you were there. Thanks for watching.